Today we're in Atlanta, Georgia to get behind the wheel of this, the 2021 Porsche Taycan Turbo. We're going to drive it right now on Driving Sports TV.
You might recognize this building as the headquarters for Marvel's Avengers, but in the real world, this is the Porsche Performance Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Inside, there are a number of rare Porsches on display, but that is not why we're here. Today, we're going to hit their track to try out Porsche's new pure electric, the Taycan Turbo S. To get started, let's check out all the features on a Taycan Turbo before we jump into the faster Turbo S. A base trim Taycan starts at $87,200. The Taycan Turbo we have here is painted frozen blue metallic, upgraded with 21-inch 5-spoke wheels and the Sport Chrono package for a price of at least $157,000. Sorry, we don't have exact numbers for this car, but Porsche did not have them available for us. Porsche rates the Taycan Turbo at up to 670 horsepower and 626 pound-feet of torque, which should be good for a 0 to 60 time of only 3 seconds. With the optional Performance Battery Plus, you can get up to 275 miles of range. As a dual motor configuration, all-wheel drive is included. In the trunk is a nice amount of cargo space. You're looking at 12.9 cubic feet. Fold the seats down and you can fit even larger objects.
There is some practicality in this Taycan in the fact that it actually has 4 doors. This panorama sunroof lets in tons of light. I have room for my head, but it does bump on the left here. The seat is where I would be sitting if I was driving. Got lots of room. Down here, we even have more digital controls. Now, they could have cheaped out on the second row and given us physical push buttons, but here it's kind of cool. I don't mind the lack of physical buttons if the screen is super responsive. And here it is. It's very, very quick, and it offers a lot of options for the second row. I even get a fold-down armrest with cup holders. Getting inside the Taycan is a very different experience than what you might have had in other cars. We have this curved display here for the gauge cluster, and it is gorgeous. And there's more screens. There's a screen here, and then there's another screen over here, which currently is set up for music so that my co-driver can also be my DJ. Down here, we have climate controls, phone, all sorts of things. But you know, I'm going out on the track, so all I really need is this one up here. If I go into drive, then I can unlock the steering wheel. Can I adjust this? Oh, power. Can I bring it forward? Oh yeah, there we go. I really like these displays. They're super high resolution. I can configure every display as I like, from the all-wheel drive configuration to, which is currently dialed to being 90% in the rear. Yeah. Oh boy, I'm gonna have so much fun. Seats are very comfortable. I have configurations both for seat ventilation as well as for seat heating right here. I like it, it's right where my hand goes. Not so sure about having the drive mode selector hidden from view. I kind of prefer it to be a little bit more visual, but I think that's probably okay. We'll see if that causes any issues. So right here is a drive mode select where I can pick range, which is basically an eco mode, normal, sport, sport plus, and individual, where I can adjust everything to my liking, which is kind of as you expect. I do like having it right here on the wheel. I can quickly toggle it if I want to switch between modes. Very easy. And this is equipped with not only carbon ceramic brakes on the front, it also has adaptive suspension.
So I have high expectations once we get it out onto the road course. And just before the session was about to start, I found out that I wouldn't be tracking this Turbo. They bumped me up to a faster Turbo S.
So what are we in today?
This is the Taycan Turbo S.
Taycan Turbo S. So why do they call an electric car a turbo?
Turbo level is a trim at Porsche. It used to be, meaning that the car had a physical turbo.
Yeah.
Now it is a trim level of our brand.
we are first going to go out on the big course here. What's the big course called?
Handling circuit. We have one big outer ring and then a bunch of different interior modules.
And we're going to start with the big one. And then what kind of driver modes? Obviously, we can set up like 50 different things in here.
Right. We're going to start off in normal. One of the kind of interesting parts about this car is that in its 4 main standard modes, it acts like 4 completely different cars.
Okay.
So really the difference between range and normal to sport and sport to sport plus.
So if you price this out, you're not buying 1 car, you're buying 4 cars.
Indeed.
Nice. How much horsepower does this have?
616 all the time,
Okay.
and then 750 with launch control.
Okay, right off the bat, I just love the fact that being electric just makes this completely silent, and in doing so, you can kind of hear more what the drivetrain's doing. You're not drowned out by motor noise, and it's just like you can almost hear what the tires are doing, even when they're not squealing. They don't have to yell at you. They can just whisper quietly to you. Psst, you can go a little faster. Oh wait, a little too fast. Okay, bring it back down. I love that. Oh yeah. And these are the carbon ceramic brakes, aren't they?
They are standard on the Turbo S.
Really? Oh, that's nice.
Most of the time, about 60% of the time you're using the brake pedal, you're actually just using the regenerative motors.
Ah, I see. So it's actually a cost-saving feature to get the electric as opposed to a 911 with the carbon ceramics.
They expect Taycan turbos and Turbo S's equipped with carbon ceramics to possibly never need a brake job.
So if you're having trouble convincing your significant other that you need to get the Taycan over a 911, that's a great reason right there. If you track on the weekends, you will save the price difference very quickly. I'm not saying they're expensive, but oh my God, they are expensive.
They're pretty expensive. They work very well. Carbon ceramics are just much more efficient at dissipating heat, and they actually work better as they get hotter, whereas traditional steel brake starts to fade away.
Right.
Carbon ceramics want to get hot so that they can work to their full potential.
Yeah, so you're not going to like jump to the brake after 4 laps and realize you don't have brakes anymore.
Right.
By going into sport, this also has a Sport Plus, but that removes a layer of traction control, does it not?
Now that's a different system.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
now we're just in straight sport?
Yep.
Oh,
so
wow. It's
chassis,
quicker.
Yep. More power, more throttle response.
Yeah.
Suspension has become stiffer in terms of shock dampening, and then also ride height we have dropped down 10 millimeters.
Interesting. Yeah, it feels... I mean, I hate that overused metaphor of like it's on rails, but damn, this thing's like on rails.
All right.
It's interesting that the center of gravity on this thing is actually lower than a 911.
Porsche driving schools exist because the weight dynamic of our sports cars is so different.
Yeah.
Taycan, still different, right?
People had to learn how to drive them.
Right. It's a very extremely heavy car at a little over 5,100 pounds before you put people in it. And then the weight all sits very low, actually below the front and rear axles, and then all the way front and rear from each axle. Yeah, feel that rear axle steer kick in?
That's great.
All
Does
right.
the rear axle steering, is that doing much? Because I didn't feel much in it in comfort mode.
It actually changes which way it angles, either turning it with the front tires or against the front tires based on your speed. At speeds less than 31 miles an hour, it turns opposite of the front tires to help push the rear end through the corner.
Okay.
At speeds of 51 and higher, it turns with them, so you feel like you're gliding. Above 51 helps out on the highway in a big deal.
Right. That makes sense.
All right, so this time when we get to the top of this hill, let's turn into the right.
Okay.
We'll go check out the dynamics pad. So it's basically just a big parking lot. We'll see when we get in there. We get to work on one, straight line acceleration, more importantly, hard braking. So here, we're gonna start taking apart how your inputs in the car are affecting the weight of the car.
Okay.
Is the better understanding you have of that is
Where do
as
I go?
smooth, up to the left,
Okay.
as smooth as you can be, which is both as safe and as fast as we can be.
Okay. And we basically just jump in line.
Sure.
What's your favorite course here?
I'm a big fan of the kick plate.
I have to say, when I heard about the kick plate, I'm like, I'm all over that. That just sounds like something, like truly something you cannot find pretty much anywhere.
There's only 8 in the world.
And you guys have 2 of them in the U.S.? Is there one at the LA Center too?
Yes, we have
Neat.
V2.
So who else has them?
The Austrian government.
They use it for like vehicle certification or something?
No, it was actually part of your driver's test in Austria.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. We so need to do that. My kids, by the way, are screwed when it comes to their driving test because we are renting an airfield and we are running them through all of this before they pass me. And if they pass me, then we'll talk about getting a regular street license. So far, my wife does not approve, but I will get her on board.
Yeah.
So what's the setup for launch control here?
You're just going to take your left foot and pin the brake all the way to the floor. That'll clear up your right foot to like a light switch, full throttle. Both pedals are pressed all the way to the floor.
Wait, so all I need to be is in Sport Plus and it's automatically enabled.
Yeah.
I don't have to do like push button ninjutsu to like disable and re-enable stuff like BMWs.
Nope.
I mean, I hate to draw the parallel, but this is also how the Ford Mustang does it.
Which
it actually took me 20 minutes to figure out because it was so easy. I'm like, no, there's got to be stuff here. And then, of course, the first time I tried it, before I did all the buttons, I didn't push down on the brake hard enough, and that's always the tricky thing. It's like because you gotta really push. You need to tell the car that you're committed to that left foot brake. So with launch control, it's going to put out the full
750 horsepower.
Okay.
774 foot-pounds of torque.
What's the 0 to 60 on this thing?
2.6.
2.6.
Quoted at Porsche by 2.6. It has been tested faster.
Okay, I'm going to also adjust this left thing so I can see what my all-wheel drive is doing. Now, it's automatically dialed most of the power to the rear. Is that what I'm reading there?
Yes.
Okay.
Porsche all-wheel drive always wants to be more rear-wheel drive.
Okay, but you can then dial it forward.
Right. The car will determine when it's useful to have the front tires be pulling.
Okay.
Off the line, it does it in a big way. And then other times when the rear end starts to slip, it'll send power to the front.
Okay.
But it'll never go greater than a 50-50 drive distribution. It'll never send more than 50% power to the front tires.
Okay. Now, is there a physical drive shaft between the front and the rear at all, or is it just using the 2 electric motors to determine output?
2 electric motors to determine output.
Okay.
Left foot on brake.
Okay. Left foot smoshing brake.
Full throttle.
Launch control active, and then ready to go.
Off the brake.
3, 2, 1, go. Holy mother of!
Keep it going. And hard brake. All the way down. Pick them up. Nice. Smooth.
Nice.
Right?
That was fun. I like that.
Sure.
Like when you have a traditional gas-powered motor, you're usually drowned out by all of the sounds that are happening. You have the turbos and all this other stuff, and so you have to yell. But in this, I don't have to yell. I can be like, oh my, that's so nice.
Right? So this time when you're braking down there, try to feel if you can feel when the car goes from regenerative braking and then jumps into the actual mechanical brake of using the carbon ceramics.
Let's do that. So brake all the way down.
Yep.
Throttle all the way down. Launch control active. 3, 2, 1, boom. And that's well over 6.
Hard brake. Pick it up.
And it's interesting. I couldn't actually tell the difference.
ABS, right, is brought on as much by the physical need to help the rotor not lock up as a spike in pressure in the system. When you spike the pressure really big, the car just thinks you're in a panic, so it's more likely to jump in.
Okay.
So if you can squeeze into the brake just a little bit smoother.
Instead of slamming.
Right.
Okay.
The car's like, oh, we're just driving fast. ABS in Porsche is so fast, it just feels like grinding more than pulsating. So try to give it a little bit of throttle out of the gate and then hold the throttle steady.
Okay.
Because if you're coming on and off the throttle, you're sending the weight forward and back.
Okay.
If you can hold the throttle steady, you only have to worry about the weight left and right.
Okay.
Which means maximum load out of the suspension, which means maximum grip out of the tire.
And away we go.
Yeah. Right. Look a little further downfield. Keep the steering wheel rolling back and forth. As soon as you're done turning around,
the stability of this thing is insane. You don't feel the heft of it.
No, it feels much more nimble than
Yeah.
a car the size of a midsize SUV should feel.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go on to the next thing.
Cool. We'll exit straight down here.
Okay. I really like the sound. I mean, I'm sure it's fake, but
So it was actually developed by Lucasfilms.
okay.
So
hence,
it is an option on all Taycans. It is standard on the Turbo S. Called the electronic sports sound. And it was not turned on. Now in Sport Plus, it automatically turns itself on.
It sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
I mean, yeah, people can complain about fake sounds, but if they sound awesome, who cares?
Yes.
So difference between the Taycan Turbo and the Turbo S, because we're in the Turbo S, aren't we?
Yes.
The S is just more expensive, more powerful?
More powerful, a lot more standard options
Oh, okay.
is what.
It's just like a trim level above.
Right.
Okay.
In the Turbo, with launch control, you only get 670 horsepower. Only. Turbo S, the full 750.
Okay.
Yeah, kick plate. All right, so speed here is very relative.
And I'm trying to save it, right?
We are. While
Okay.
360s look cool, it is not the purpose of the exercise.
And I should be able to save it. It's only kicking so much that I should be able to control the slide without doing a full rotation.
You
right?
should. Quick hands are going to be what helps us there.
Right. And I'm just rolling into it basically?
Yeah, we're going to go
Okay.
just about 20 miles an hour.
Okay.
And ideally, we get a steady throttle.
Okay.
In a worst case scenario, I'll say brakes, brakes, brakes.
Okay.
Hold the brake pedal to the floor until we come to a full and complete stop.
In other words, I'd be busted.
All right, so vision, always most important. I use the black Porsche billboard down at the far end.
Okay.
Porsche, black spot, Porsche.
It's going to be weird. I've never been kicked in a car
There you go.
before.
Hold that speed there.
Okay.
A little closer on your side.
Okay.
Eyes up.
Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, I'm supposed to
go.
avoid that, aren't I?
You are.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
There you go.
You don't tell me on purpose.
That's true. So it gets exponentially more difficult with every mile an hour you add.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So that was 20, I think, is what
Yeah.
I was doing there roughly.
About 24.
Oh, I was doing 24? Okay.
Yeah. And so we never want to go any faster than 30.
Okay.
So you could also feel the brakes grinding
Yeah,
in
that was a
individual
lot.
corners in kind of a big way. So-
Stability control was really working overtime there.
right. And in a Taycan, it can articulate itself much more quickly because
Uh-huh.
it doesn't actually have a physical drivetrain. It's
Oh,
slowing
right.
down.
It doesn't have
right?
to wait for that binding to happen before it sends power to engage the clutch pack to do all this stuff. It's just like power, 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 which is what we've been telling you guys like all along is that theoretically a electric drivetrain makes sense, even for off-roading, because simply you can send power instantly to where you need it. The downside has been car makers like Toyota always put like dopey engines in the back, or dopey motors to be technically correct. So, you know, you get your 200 up here and you get your 50 back there. So anyway, you haven't done that with this one, clearly. And we're gonna do about 25 maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. A little bit of power, yep. Oh, too much.
Oh, too much power.
Into the brake, yep.
Oh, I don't want to do sideways. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, it's my motto, if you don't do a full 360, you haven't tried hard enough. So.
I'm with you, that's cool.
So that was the difference between 24 and 28 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
The initial catch, not too crazy, but then you have so much more momentum that when you went back to the power,
Yeah, and also it's at trying to like figure like what's my line to avoid those hazards.
yeah. we'll fall
Because
on
I'm
the
like,
ground
should I
before
go
you
this way or should I go that way? In that split second where your brain is trying to sort that out, you kind of basically lose the plot. Which I loved it. I mean, I would just spend all day on this thing because this is just brilliant. Do we get time for one more?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, it's at 28.
Kick this the other way. All right, let's go check out the circle. Here, we can treat it like low friction handling, where we recognize the limit of grip and purposely exceed it.
Yeah.
Or we can treat it a little bit more like WRC style and work on power on oversteer.
Well, you know which one I want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
So from a relatively slow speed, yeah, go ahead and put it back in PSM Sport,
Oh, okay.
and then we'll start off with that, and yeah, go to Sport or Sport Plus.
Okay. Let's go to Sport Plus.
Cool. And then if you're in Sport Plus, we're gonna
Sound change.
Yeah, we're gonna turn off our recuperation from our
Okay.
accelerator.
Okay.
So the recuperation is when in Sport Plus, it's going to automatically apply the front brake and dip the nose.
Oh, I
like
see.
a standard, like a traditional car. So we're going to turn that off because that braking isn't going to help us extend a slide, which is
Okay.
what we're going to be working on here.
Perfect.
And
Sport Plus, chassis height low, recoup off, electric sport sound on, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so.
So we're going to go out directly into the sprayer on the polished concrete,
Uh-huh.
and I use a 3-count cadence.
Okay.
1, way too much power.
Okay.
2, flick the steering wheel an inch to the left.
Okay.
Because that inch to the left is going to help shove the rear end out to the right, which is what we
1,
want.
2,
3, lift
3.
off
Okay.
the throttle. And then just like the kick plate, when the rear end goes to the right, your hand should go to the right to catch it back.
Right.
All right, let's go for it.
Yeah, I learned that from the movie Cars. Just kidding.
All right, so slow it up a little bit.
Slow it up.
Yeah, if we have too much speed, you just
Yeah.
fly out of the circle. Even slower, just like barely moving,
Oh,
crawling.
okay. We're gonna do a power
Big power,
climb.
yeah. Go for
okay.
it. Right?
Oh, that's more I'm not used to how much power and how quick it is with this thing.
Yeah, so squeeze into the throttle just a little bit more, but you still kind of have to abruptly get the throttle down.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
We just want to abruptly get it to about there you go, back to the power.
Sorry.
So you can still feel the stability management. Jumping in, it just waits way longer.
It does, yeah.
All right, slow it up a little, go for it. I slow it down, reset.
Okay.
So also in all-wheel drive, we're fighting a big way understeer.
Yes.
We need to give it enough power to pull it, but not too much to lose total front grip.
Right.
Go for it again. 1, 2, 3, lift. There you go. So that's all understeer. Slow down, reset.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah, just unwind the wheel.
Okay.
Because as soon as you put the wheel back towards center, you ask less of the tires, you let them regain their grip. All right, bring it out a little wider on my side.
Okay.
And go for it. Big power. 1, 2, 3, lift. Now power. So that is how much angle you can get
Yeah.
with it still on to some degree.
I have to say, this was so much easier in a Miata.
All-wheel drive drifting, it's a whole new game. All-wheel drive drifting, you have to go past 45 degrees, but you can go up to 90. And now, hold it for 3 seconds.
Okay.
No babysitter.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go for it. Back to the power. Look where you want to go. Straighten the wheel, straighten the wheel, straighten the wheel.
Yeah, too far.
Straighten the wheel, straighten the wheel, straighten the wheel.
And this is harder than it looks. I just want, yeah, you can do it in a Miata. I can do it in a Miata. This is hard.
Bring it out wide.
Okay.
Go for it. 1, 2, 3. Power, power, power.
See, once I start sliding, adding power does not seem like that makes sense. I mean, I can see that because I've done that. Like if I drive an all-wheel drive car in the snow, I know when I'm crossed up, I add power and I get out of it. But for some reason, it's not working on my brain in this situation.
Power, power. Lift, it'll rotate. Look where you want to go.
Well, I think I finally got it.
That was it.
Yeah, it's getting your head around it. And I think I don't know what it is. It's the conditions. It's the fact that it's sunny out or something. Okay, one more time.
Straighten the wheel.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
The car went exactly where you were looking.
Exactly, yeah. I've driven Subarus on frozen lakes. You know, clearly it's all power through it. That's how you recover it. So the fact that my brain just refused to acknowledge that that was what we were doing here is fascinating. And it also goes to prove that you need to not assume that your body is going to respond in the way that you want it to respond without experience, without doing it in the real world. And so a place like this where you can do it safely really can make all the difference in your driving abilities. It's not just for fun. If you've watched my show over the last 15 years, you've seen me do lots of things. And I still have a lot to learn, clearly. So also because cars are changing. So that's some fun here at the Porsche Experience Center in Atlanta, Georgia. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthat. Thanks for watching. We have new stuff every week.